The stars were quiet, too quiet above Earth. A dark fleet hovered like storm clouds. Ships shaped like jagged teeth circled the planet, glowing with cold blue light. Inside the largest, one alien commanders watched through crystal screens. "Humanity," said Commander Vex, his voice dripping with mockery. "So loud, so weak, they think they can fight us." His second-in-command Zarek laughed, a low rumbling sound. "They've sent 3 messages this week begging for peace," Vex smirked. "Let them beg. We came here not to talk, we came to erase." Below on Earth it was chaos. Cities glowed under emergency lights. Skies buzzed with fighter jets trying to do what they couldn't. Reach the enemy governments. Scrambled scientists, wept soldiers. Stood ready knowing they had no chance at the Global Defense Center deep beneath New York City. General Elias Carter stared at the screen showing the alien armada. "We're out of time," he muttered behind him. Captain Maria Lopez stepped forward. Her uniform was torn, her eyes tired, but her voice was strong. "We have to try one last thing." Carter turned to her. "You mean the signal?" She nodded. "It's our only hope." Few minutes later, inside a small, dimly lit room, a scientist named Dr. Alan Wu sat at a dusty console. He hadn't used this system in years. "You sure?" he asked. "No," Lopez admitted, "but if anyone is out there, if something is watching, maybe they'll hear us." Wu typed. Fast lights blinked. Old machines grown to life, then silence, and then, "This is Earth," the signal began. It was calm, clear, and filled with desperation. "We are under attack by an unknown force. We ask for help. We ask for mercy. If anyone can hear this message, please respond across the world." People stopped what they were doing in homes, shelters, bunkers, and hospitals. They listened, some cried, some prayed, others just stared at the sky. In space, the alien fleet laughed. "They really think someone will come," Vex sneered. Zarek grinned. "Maybe their gods will fly down from heaven." But something changed on the edge of the solar system, far beyond Neptune's orbit. Something stirred. No ship, no fleet, just a single figure floating in darkness. It wore armor that looked like midnight. Its face was hidden behind a helmet of silver fire, and its eyes, glowing faintly, opened for the first time in centuries. The signal reached it like a whisper in the void. "This is Earth, asking for help." The figure didn't move for a long time, then slowly it raised one hand. Stars flickered. Space Bentan. The figure vanished back on Earth. The signal ended. General Carter closed his eyes. "That's it." Maria Lopez crossed her arms. "Maybe it was stupid." Dr. Wu shrugged. "Maybe, but I felt better sending it than sitting here waiting to die." Suddenly alarms blared, not from the aliens, from space. Something had entered the solar system. "Fast, too fast." "Contact," shouted a technician. "Unknown object approaching Earth at impossible speed." Everyone rushed to the screen. There was nothing visible, just a ripple in the sky. Then, without warning, the alien fleet's communication channel burst open. Zarek's voice was sharp with panic. What is that?" The screen showed a blur of movement, then static. One by one, the alien ships lost power. Lights went out, engines died, ships fell like rocks into Earth's atmosphere. Screams echoed over the comms, then silence, total silence. Carter, Lopez, and Wu stared at each other. "Did we win?" Wu whispered. "I don't know," Lopez said, "but someone heard us." Outside, the sky burned with falling ships. Inside, the message spread like wildfire. The aliens were retreating, but no one knew why, and no one saw who or what had done it. Only one thing was certain: Earth was still here, because someone, somewhere, had decided to act, and they were coming. The sky was still burning. Alien ships crashed into oceans, mountains, and deserts. Smoke rose like dark pillars across the world. People watched in stunned silence, not celebrating, not crying, just staring. They didn't know what had saved them, and they were afraid. At the Global Defense Center, General Elias Carter paced back and forth. Captain Maria Lopez stood near a shattered window, watching the smoke rise over New York. "You believe it's over?" she asked. Carter shook his head. "Know something stop them. That doesn't mean it's on our side." Across the city, Dr. Alan Wu sat alone in a dark lab, replaying the last few minutes before the alien fleet went silent. "There's no record of any weapon," he muttered. "No energy signature. No explosion, just gone." He leaned back, rubbing his eyes. Then his screen flickered. Not from the system, from outside. Something was there, floating above the rooftop. scrambled to the window. It was tall, almost human-shaped, but its armor was blacker. The knight and its helmet glowed with silver fire. It didn't move like a soldier, it moved like a shadow. Wu whispered to himself. That's not ours. Back at the defense center, alarms blared again. Sir, a technician shouted, unknown object. Entering the city, Carter grabbed the mic. Where, New York, near the old science district. Lopez's eyes widened. Alan's lab is there. Within minutes, a military drone was airborne, scanning the area. The feed showed the figure standing on top of a ruined building. It wasn't attacking anyone, it was watching, waiting. Then, without warning, it turned toward the camera. Stared for one long, terrifying second. It looked straight into the lens. Then the feed cut out. Damn it, Carter cursed. What is that thing? Lopez grabbed her gear. We need eyes on the ground. I'm going. I'm not letting you walk into this blind, Carter said. She gave him a serious look. If we don't understand what just saved us, how can we ever feel safe again? Carter hesitated, then nodded. Minutes later, Lopez and a small team arrived at the edge of the science district. Everything was quiet too. Quiet lights flickered, the wind carried dust and ash. Then a voice came through their comms, low, deep, not threatening, but not friendly. You called, I answered. Everyone froze. Who are you? Lopez shouted into the open air. No reply. Instead, the figure stepped forward from the shadow stall, silent, powerful. One of the soldiers raised a weapon. No. Lopez snapped. Stand down. The soldier lowered the gun, but his hands trembled. The figure stopped 10 feet away, still silent, still watching. Lopez took a deep breath. Did you stop the aliens? The figure tilted its head slightly, like it was thinking. Then it spoke again. Yes, just one word, but it sent shivers down their spines. Why? She asked. Pause. Because someone had to. Lopez swallowed hard. Are you here to help us now? Another pause. I am here because no one else would be. Before she could ask more, the figure lifted its hand. A wave of energy pulsed outward all around them. Broken machines began to hum. Lights flickered back on, computers rebooted. Even the dead drones came back online. Lopez gasped. You're fixing everything. The figure didn't answer. Instead, it stepped back. Its body shimmered, then vanished like it was never there. Back at base, Carter waited anxiously. Lopez walked in, shaken. Well, he asked. It was real, she said. It fixed everything, restored power, brought systems back online. Dr. Wu ran in. I got data from the drone feed before it cut out. This isn't just armor. There's something inside it, something alive. Carter frowned. So it's not a machine? No, Wu said. It's enhanced. Like a human, but stronger, faster, smarter. Lopez sat down slowly. We have to find out who or what that was, she said. Because if it's not with us, we might have a bigger problem than the aliens outside the world. Was healing. People cheered. Lights returned. Hope flickered. But somewhere far away, hidden in the dark, the figure watched from a rooftop. Its mission had just begun, and Earth had no idea what was coming next. The world was still trying to understand what had just happened. Aliens were gone. A mysterious figure had appeared and vanished, and no one knew if it was friend or foe. At the Global Defense Center, General Elias Carter sat in a dark room filled with blinking screens. Captain Maria Lopez stood nearby, arms crossed. Dr. Alan Wu paced nervously. We need answers, Carter said. Lopez nodded. We know he's strong. We know he helped us. But we don't know why. Wu stopped pacing. Maybe that's not the most important question. Carter looked at him. Then what is? Wu pointed at the screen, showing footage from the drone feed. The figure stood tall, silent, glowing with power. How did he know exactly what to do? Wu asked. He didn't hesitate. He knew where to go, what to fix, how to fight. Lopez frowned. You're saying he planned this? Wu shrugged. Or he's been watching us for a long time? Outside rumors spread like fire. Some called the figure an angel, others called it a god, but not everyone believed in miracles. In a hidden lab deep beneath the Himalayas, a scientist named Dr. Elena Park stared at her own screen. She was old, tired, but sharp. Her assistant Juno watched her closely. You've seen this before, haven't you? Juno asked. Dr. Park didn't answer right away. She typed quickly, pulling up old files. Dusty records, forgotten experiments. Finally she spoke. I thought he was dead, she whispered. Juno leaned closer. Who is he? Park took a deep breath. He was never supposed to leave Earth. Back at the defense center, alarms suddenly blared. Sir, a technician shouted. Unknown energy spike near the coast. Carter jumped up. Where? Off the shore of Australia. Something just surfaced. Minutes Later satellite images showed a massive object floating in the ocean. It wasn't alien, it wasn't human-made either. It looked like a weapon, and it was covered in markings similar to the figure's armor. Lopez stared at the image. That thing has his symbol on it. Wu gasped. He left it there. Carter narrowed his eyes. Why? Before anyone could answer, there comes, crackled a voice came through. Calm, deep, familiar. This is not the only one. Everyone froze. Lopez grabbed the mic. Who are you? Silence, then. I am what remains. The line went dead on. The other side of the planet, near the ruins of an old research base in Antarctica, snow began to melt. Something was waking up buried under ice for decades. A second object pulsed. With light and far above Earth, hidden in the shadow of the moon, a third waited, waiting for the right moment. Back in New York, the mysterious figure stood once again on a rooftop below. People celebrated. Above the stars watched silently. The figure turned its head toward the sky. Its helmet glowed faintly. Then, in a whisper only it could hear, it spoke. They thought I was alone. They were wrong. The world was beginning to believe the nightmare was over. Aliens had vanished. The mysterious figure had saved Earth, and now people were celebrating like heroes. Had always been real, but not everyone was cheering. At the Global Defense Center, General Elias Carter stood over a glowing map showing new activity across the globe. Captain Maria Lopez walked in holding a tablet. You're not going to like this, she said. Carter didn't look up. I haven't liked anything since last week. Lopez placed the tablet on the table. It showed footage from Australia, the strange object floating near the coast. It moved, she said, last night, just for a second. Dr. Alan Wu entered looking pale. I ran the energy signature, he said. It matches the figure's armor. Carter frowned. So what is it? A weapon? Wu hesitated. Maybe, or something worse. Before he could explain, alarms blared. Sir, a technician shouted, we're picking up movement again. Everyone rushed to the main screen. This time it wasn't just Australia and Antarctica, the buried object under. The ice began to glow brighter in space, hidden behind the moon. The third object stirred, and in New York the figure reappeared, not on a rooftop, this time inside the city. A team of soldiers surrounded a collapsed building. Smoke rose from broken cars. Lights flickered. Then, without warning, a shockwave exploded outward. Soldiers flew backward. Cars flipped. Buildings cracked, and standing in the center, untouched by the destruction, was the figure. Its helmet glowed. It looked around slowly. Then it stepped forward from a nearby rooftop. Captain Lopez watched through binoculars. She grabbed her radio. Hold your fire. He hasn't attacked anyone, one of the soldiers yelled. He just threw us 10 meters. That's not peaceful. Lopez ignored him. She ran down to the scene. The figure stopped moving. She took a deep breath and stepped forward alone. Why are you doing this? She asked. No. Asa, she tried again. You helped us before. You fixed things. Why attack now? The figure tilted its head slightly. Then it spoke. I did not come to be studied. Lopez blinked. What? Behind her more soldiers arrived, guns raised. The figure's eyes flared suddenly. A pulse shot out from its body. Every soldier dropped their weapons. Their suits, short-circuit headlights failed. Everything went dark for a moment. When the power came back, the figure was gone. Only a message remained burned into every screen in the city. I am not your weapon. I am not your god. I am only here because no one else was strong enough. Back at the defense center, General Carter stared at the message. This isn't good, he muttered. Wu nodded. He's not just protecting us anymore, he's warning us. Lopez clenched her fists. Then what happens when he decides we're the problem? Outside. The skies grew darker across the planet. The three mysterious objects pulsed in unison, and far away in the cold silence of space, something else responded. Something old, something powerful, and something that had been waiting for this moment. The world was changing after the hero's terrifying warning. People weren't sure whether to thank him or fear him. At the Global Defense Center, General Elias Carter stood at the command table, staring at reports from around the globe. Captain Maria Lopez entered, her face tense. We have a problem, she said. Carter didn't look up. We have many. Lopez placed a tablet on the table. This one is big. The screen showed footage from Australia. The strange object floating near the coast had risen out of the water. It hovered now above the ocean, glowing. Then, without warning, it fired. A beam shot across the sky and struck an alien scout ship hiding in Earth's orbit. The ship exploded in silence. Back at base, Dr. Alan Wu watched the footage with wide eyes. He just took out an enemy we didn't even know was there, he whispered. Lopez crossed her arms. So why didn't he tell us? Carter finally looked up. Because he doesn't work like we do. He doesn't ask permission. He doesn't follow orders. He paused. He only does what needs to be done. In space, the hero floated silently outside Earth's atmosphere. His armor pulsed with energy. He scanned the stars. Something else was coming. More enemies, more threats. He turned and vanished. In a flash of light back on Earth, not everyone was happy. In Geneva, a meeting of the United Earth Council was underway. Leaders from around the world argued. "This being is a danger," shouted President Rourke of the Americas. "He attacked our soldiers, General." Cade of Russia nodded. "He is too powerful. We must control him." But Prime Minister Amina of Kenya disagreed. "You saw what he did to the aliens," she said. "You think he'll let you chain him like a dog?" Cade frowned. "We have weapons. We can stop him." Across the world, military forces began preparing for a new kind of war, not against aliens, against the hero. Meanwhile, in New York, Captain Lopez got a message from an unknown source. It was a voice call. She answered. "They are making a mistake." "It was him, the council?" she asked quickly. "Yes." "Then what will you do?" "Silence." "Then what I must." Suddenly all the lights in the city went out. Every camera feed blinked off, and then in every major city across the planet, a message appeared on every screen. "You cannot control what you do not understand. I fight for Earth, not for your rules." Then one by one military satellites shut down. Jet fighters lost control. Mid-flight missile systems froze. Earth's armies were blind, and somewhere in the sky the hero watched. He wasn't angry. He wasn't sad. He was simply showing them the truth. They couldn't stop him, and they couldn't use him. He was beyond their control. Back at the Defense Center, General Carter stared at the dark screens. Wu whispered, "He just disabled the entire defense network." Lopez shook her head. "No, he protected us." Carter looked at her. From who? She met his eyes. From ourselves. Outside, the night sky lit up again, not with war but with power, and far away, hidden among the stars, something ancient watched, waiting, learning. The world was on edge after the hero disabled Earth's military systems. Governments reacted fast. Some called him a savior, others called him a threat. At the United Earth Council, voices clashed like thunder. "He shut down our entire defense network," shouted President Rourke of the Americas. General Cade of Russia leaned forward. "He is dangerous. We must stop him before it's too late." Across the table, Prime Minister Amina of Kenya looked tired. "You still don't understand," she said quietly. "He didn't attack us. He showed us we can't control him." Cade slammed his fist on the table. "Then he must be eliminated in New York." General Elias Carter watched the broadcast from the Global Defense Center. Captain Maria Lopez stood beside him. "They're going after him?" she said. Carter nodded. "And they have no idea what they're walking into." Dr. Alan Wu entered holding a tablet. His face was pale. "I've been studying the data from the alien fleet," he said. "I think I figured out why they laughed at us." Lopez frowned. "Because they thought we were weak." Wu shook his head. "No, because they knew something we didn't." He tapped the screen. A strange energy pattern appeared. "This signal," he said. "It wasn't just coming from the aliens." Carter narrowed his eyes. "Where was it coming from?" Wu took a deep breath. "From Earth." Silence filled the room. "You're saying there was already an alien presence here?" Lopez asked. "Not just one," Wu said. "There are more hidden, watching." Outside, the sky was dark, but far above, hidden inside clouds and satellites, something was listening back. At the council, the leaders made their decision. A new mission was launched. Operation Neutralize. Their goal: find the hero. Their plan: capture or kill within hours. Elite strike teams were deployed around the globe. Drones scanned every city. Spy satellites searched for any sign of movement. They weren't going to ask questions. They were going to end this. Meanwhile, in the skies above Earth, the hero floated silently in space. His helmet glowed faintly. He knew what was coming, and he wasn't surprised. Back in New York, Lopez got a message. She opened it. It was a voice call. "They have chosen war." Lopez closed her eyes. "We tried to stop them." "You warned them," the hero replied. "Now I must warn them myself." Before she could speak, the line cut off. Then all over the city, lights flickered. Dozens of drones fell from the sky. Missile silos shut down. Communication towers went silent. Something or someone was disabling everything again, but this time it wasn't quiet. This time it was a message on every screen in the world. Words appeared. "You do not understand what you fight. You do not know what watches from the stars, but I do. Then the hero's face appeared. Not in anger, but in warning. You need me more than you fear me. Back at the defense center, Carter stared at the screen. We have to stop this, he muttered. Wu looked at him. What if we're already too late? Outside, the first strike team arrived. Helicopters circled a rooftop. Soldiers dropped down, weapons ready. They had orders capture or kill, but when they reached the top, the hero was already waiting, tall, silent, unmoving. One soldier stepped forward. This is the United Earth Army, he shouted. Stand down and surrender. The hero didn't move to dead. Speak, just watch. Then slowly he raised one hand. A pulse of energy exploded outward. Helicopters spun out of control. Soldiers flew backward, weapons shattered, and once again silence returned. The hero looked up at the sky. Somewhere far beyond the stars, something responded, something old, something watching, and it was getting closer. Far beneath the Himalayas, in a hidden research facility, long-thought abandoned Dr. Elena Park sat alone in a dimly lit room. She stared at old files on her screen, records from over 50 years ago. Project Aegis goal, to create humanity's ultimate protector. Her assistant Juno entered quietly. You've been down here for hours. Juno said, you found something? Park didn't look up. I found him, she whispered. Juno frowned. Who? Park turned the screen toward her. There, frozen in time, was a young man. His name had once been Kai Mercer. Now he was something else. Back in New York, Captain Maria Lopez stood on a rooftop watching the sky. General Elias Carter walked up behind her. They're going after him again, he said. More teams, more weapons. Lopez didn't turn, and you're just letting it happen. Carter sighed. I don't agree with it, but I can't stop it. She looked at him. Then maybe we need to find him first. At that moment, her radio crackled. It was Dr. Alan Wu. Lopez, I think I know who he is. Tell me his name. Used to be Kai Mercer. He was part of an old experiment, Project Aegis. They tried to enhance human soldiers. Only one survived, and that was him. Yes, and if I'm right, he remembers everything. Back in the Himalayas, Dr. Park continued reading. Decades ago, Project Aegis had been shut down after a terrible accident. One test subject had gone missing during a classified mission. No body was ever found. Now they knew why, because he hadn't died. He had become something more in space. The hero, Kai, floated silently watching Earth. His voice echoed in his own mind. You were never meant to survive, but you did. And now you must protect what remains back on Earth. Lopez and Carter prepared for departure. Where are we going? Carter asked. To find someone who might understand him, Lopez said. Dr. Elena Park. Meanwhile, in the mountains, Park stood in front of a broken lab door. Behind it was the past. She punched in a code. The door groaned open inside. Dust covered everything, but in the center of the room stood a single object, an old suit of armor, not like Kai's current one. This one was early experimental. Park touched it gently. This is where it began, she whispered. Suddenly the lights flickered. A soft hum filled the air. Juno gasped. Someone's here. They turned, and there he was. Kai stood in the doorway. All silent, powerful. Park took a step forward. Kai, she said softly, is that really you for the first time? Kai hesitated. Then slowly he removed his helmet. His face was older, marked by time and battle, but his eyes, still human, still remembering. Park's voice cracked. We thought you were dead. Kai looked at the armor on display. I was, he said quietly, but death wasn't the end. Lopez and Carter arrived minutes later. When Kai saw them, he placed his helmet back on. You came for answers. You will not like all of them. Lopez stepped closer. Tell us the truth. Who are you? Kai looked at her, then at the world beyond. I am what remains of a failed experiment. I am what humanity created when it tried to build its own hero. And I am the only thing standing between Earth and what's coming. Everyone fell silent outside. The wind howled, and somewhere far away in the cold silence of space, something listened, something remembered, and it was getting ready to return. In the cold silence of the Himalayan lab, Kai stood still as memory surged through him like thunder. Dr. Elena Park watched him closely. You remember, she said softly. Kai didn't answer at first. Then slowly he nodded. I remember everything. Back in New York, Captain Maria Lopez and General Elias Carter listened as Dr. Alan Wu played old mission logs from Project Aegis. Test subject Kai Mercer. Enhancement level experimental. Objective create Earth's ultimate protector. Status failed subject presumed dead. Lopez frowned. If he was supposed to be a protector, Why did they shut it down? Wu looked uneasy. Because something went wrong. Park's voice came over the coms. Something very wrong. Back in the lab. Kai walked toward a cracked mirror. His reflection stared back. Not just a man, but something more. I wasn't born this way, he said. I was made. Park stepped beside him. They wanted a warrior, she said. They gave you strength, speed. Intelligence beyond human limits. Kai turned to her, but they didn't give me control. Flashback. A younger Kai stands inside a testing chamber. Wires connect to his body. Lights flash. Pain surges through him. Scientists shout. His vitals are spiking. We're losing control. Shut it down. But it's too late. The machine explodes. The lab burns and Kai vanishes into the storm. Present. Kai's voice is low. I woke up in the ocean. Cold, confused, broken. Park nods. You shouldn't have survived. Kai looks out the window. But I did. Back in New York. Alarms blare. Sir, a technician shouts. We've lost contact with 2 satellites. Carter steps forward. What happened? Wu checks the data. Same energy signature. Same as before. Lopez's eyes widen. He's doing it again. Meanwhile, high above Earth, Kai floats silently in space. His helmet glows. He scans the stars. Something is coming. Something worse than the aliens. He turns and vanishes in a burst of light. Back on Earth, military leaders meet in secret. General Cade leans forward. We know who he is. Now we can stop him. President Rourke frowns. Do we even understand what he is? Prime Minister Amina shakes her head. No, but we should be asking ourselves. If we ever had the right to create him, in Antarctica beneath layers of ice, one of the mysterious objects pulses with power. It responds to something unseen. Something calling back in the Himalayas. Park places a trembling hand on the broken armor display. We thought we were making a soldier, she says. But we made a guardian. Kai watches her. I didn't come back to serve, he says. I came back because no one else could. Lopez walks closer. Then tell us what's really coming. Kai looks at her, and for the first time his voice carries fear. Something that saw what we did, something that learned from it. And now it's here, outside. The wind howls, and far away, hidden behind the edge of the solar system. Shadow moves. Cold, hungry, watching. Earth was no longer just under threat, it was under siege. High above the planet, the sky cracked open. A massive alien warship emerged from the clouds. Black, jagged, glowing with dark energy behind it. More ships followed. Not the same aliens who attacked before. These were worse, older, stronger, hungry. At the Global Defense Center, alarms screamed across the building. General Elias Carter stood frozen for only a second before shouting orders. Scramble, all fighters, activate planetary defense systems. Captain Maria Lopez ran into the room, breathless. They're not responding to any signals, she said. They're not here to negotiate. Dr. Alan Wu stared at the screen. They're here for him, he whispered back. In the Himalayas, Kai stood on a snowy peak. His helmet glowed. He looked up. You found me. But you should have stayed away. Behind him, Dr. Elena. Park watched with wide eyes. You can't fight them alone, she said. Kai turned to her. I won't be. Suddenly his armor pulsed across the world. The hidden objects began to glowing. Australia and Antarctica in orbit. They responded to his call. One by one they activated, and then something incredible happened. From beneath the ocean, a new figure rose, tall, armored, powerful. Another. Hero. Kai's voice echoed through. Comes across the world. I was never meant to be the last. Back at the defense center, Lopez grabbed Wu's arm. What is that? Wu stared at the feed. I think, he said slowly, we just got backup in space. Kai flew upward like a comet. He met the enemy head. One energy blasts lit up the sky. Missiles exploded in silence. But Kai didn't slow down. He moved faster than thought, struck harder than thunder, and he wasn't the only one anymore. Down below, Earth watched in awe. People who had feared him now cheered. Soldiers who had been ordered to stop him now followed his lead. Lopez grabbed the mic. This is Captain Maria Lopez, she announced. If anyone out there still believes in Earth, now is the time to fight. Across the globe, resistance forces joined the battle. Fighters launched lasers, fired missiles, roared, and for the first time in history, humanity fought not just to survive, but to win. In the sky, Kai faced the alien commander, a towering beast wrapped in armor and fire. Their eyes met. The commander growled, You are not what we expected. Kai raised his hand. Good, he struck. The sky lit up and the final battle truly began. The battle raged across the skies. Fire lit up the clouds. Explosions echoed through Space Earth's forces fought like never before, not just to survive, but to prove they could stand tall against the stars. And at the heart of it all was Kai. He moved like lightning struck, like thunder fought, like a storm above Earth. He clashed with the alien commander, a beast of claws and armor roaring with fury. "You cannot win," the commander growled. Kai didn't answer. He only struck harder. With one final blow, he shattered the alien's armor. The commander screamed as he fell into the atmosphere, vanishing in fire. Victory not yet. Back on Earth, General Elias Carter stood in the ruins of the Global Defense Center. Captain Maria Lopez ran up beside him. "We won," she said, breathless. "We actually won." Carter looked up at the sky. "Maybe," he said, "but now we have a new question." Lopez frowned. "What?" Carter turned to her. "What happens now that he won above them?" Kai floated silently in space. His armor cracked, his energy low, but he was still standing still. Watching. Then his helmet glowed. A signal came through. "Enemy fleet destroyed. Threat level neutralized." Dr. Alan Wu stared at the screen. "He's scanning for more enemies," he whispered, "like he expects more to come." Dr. Elena Park stepped forward. "He knows something we don't," she said. "He always has." On a rooftop in New York, Kai landed. Quietly, people gathered around. Some cheered, some watched in silence. One child stepped forward. "Are you staying?" the boy asked. Kai looked down at him for a long time. He didn't answer. Then slowly he spoke. "I will stay until I am needed elsewhere." Lopez walked up. "You're not going to disappear again, are you?" Kai looked at her. "No." He placed a hand on her shoulder. "But I am not yours to command." Carter stepped forward. "We need you here," he said. "You saved us. You changed everything." Kai nodded. "I did," he said. "But I also showed you what you were capable of." He looked out over the city. "When I arrived, you feared me." He turned back to them. "Now you fight beside me." Lopez smiled slightly. "So what now?" Kai looked up at the stars. "Now we prepare." This was not the end. It was only the beginning. Suddenly his armor pulsed far beyond the solar system. Something responded, something old, something powerful, something watching. And then Kai vanished, gone just like that. Back at the defense center, alarms blared again. "Sir," a technician shouted, "we've picked up a new signal." Wu ran to the screen. It wasn't from Earth. It wasn't from any known enemy. It was unknown, and it was coming from Deep Space Park. Whispered, "They heard what happened." Lopez looked at the message blinking on every screen. "Earth has awakened. We are watching." Outside, the world began to rebuild. Hope rose, fear remained, but one truth settled in every heart. Earth was no longer alone, and its mightiest protector had only just begun.